All right, so me and this dude right here are about to insulate the van. It's been pretty nasty hot lately, and probably gonna have to go to Indianapolis this week, or not Indianapolis, up Elkhart. It's up near Chicago, in Indiana. But yeah, figured do a little bit of filming today, just kind of showing the process. So far, what we're going to do is we have some spray foam insulation. We're going to put into these cracks right here, and the cracks up here, and then we also have boards that we're going to one inch foam boards, so that we can do the majority of the big parts with that. So, yep, I'm gonna do a little bit of videoing for today with this, just to, it'll be pretty cool to show y'all. So it's part of the freight life.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
So what we've done so far is we've taken off the paneling. This stuff right here is just plastic, and then we've these cords were hanging down, so we just took zip ties and wrapped them around here and made it all nice and neat so far. So then the next step is to get all the rest of the paneling off and start spray foaming and taking the adhesive and putting the foam board on. All right, we'll update y'all later. Chafed, and it shocked the crap out of me. So I'm having to rebuild the wire so we can use it to finish the van. So we will come back and show y'all the final project, or the final.
Here's
final
your knife.
thing. Thank you.
Get her, Dad. Okay, so it's actually the next day. It's Sunday evening right now. I know the lighting's gonna be terrible since this is a GoPro, but there we go, a little bit more. So we got it basically done now. So we went in and put the panels back on for the middle and the bottom panels. These top panels we're gonna put back on. Basically what we did, we took this foam board, put it all over the place in here, and we have some spray foam that's kind of just covering the edges anywhere where there's open space that can be covered. And we got all the way down there, and we got this side up here too. Yes, I know this looks absolutely terrible, but this is the first time we've done something like this. First time any of us have even tried this. And we looked it up, and this was what my brother said was one of the ways people doing it that actually seems to work pretty well. But yeah, so this is what it looks like so far, and very, very excited to actually be able to possibly sleep decently comfortable and not have to be excruciatingly hot during the summer. Because if it's cold out, I'm fine with putting a bunch of stuff on, and it'll be nice to be warm. But when it's hot out, you cannot get sleep. It's terrible. So we're gonna get everything lined up properly and put the put all the plastic back on, and we'll be good. Hey, how y'all doing today? So this is gonna be the last part of the video. I plan on putting a little bit of some weekly activities that were done in the first part, but this is the main part of the video that I really wanted to focus on. And this is not gun content this week. This is something that's even more important. I think that every person should have a library. Whether you start off with a small library that is made up of, you know, just some things that you love to read, or it's things you specifically get for a purpose. I think that there's a few categories that are really necessary when it comes to getting into having your own library, right? The reason that it's very important to have physical copies of books is just even more recently I've been seeing posts and comments about people saying that they're getting their books removed off of electronics, say like Kindles and Amazon books. And it seems to be books that are like 1984, like Fahrenheit 451. Books like that that are classics that have very much so anti-establishment agendas. So I think that the video this week is going to be kind of me showing what categories are the most important and what you should be looking at getting if you want to start your own library. Now, the first category will always be the most important. That is theology. If you are a person who's going to comment and say, well, I'm not a Christian, so it doesn't matter, I'm still going to say it's the most important. God's law does not change because you're an atheist. It's still the same as it was before. So having books on theology is important. Bibles, for instance. This is a New King James Holman Bible, just a thin line. This is a King James Bible I got a while back that is a small pocket-sized King James Bible. I have my original King James Bible that I've had for probably about 6 or 8 years now. I cannot remember. I believe I got it for Christmas one year. And also some different stuff, kind of like, defensive Calvinism. This is a small sermon, actually, I believe, that Charles Spurgeon did that was put into print as a book. Something like Stephen J. Lawson, It'll Cost You Everything. I've not read through this, but I'm reading right now through the actually got it in here. The Expository Genius of John Calvin, Stephen J. Lawson. This is the Long Line of Godly Men series that he does. Great books. Another one that I so far would recommend. I'm about halfway through this. The Gospel According to God. John MacArthur, though I disagree with quite a bit of things that he says, I wouldn't say quite a bit, though I disagree with his view of eschatology and his dispensational theology. I disagree with that wholeheartedly. He is a great man to read. He has quite a few books that I've either listened to parts of or been able to skim through, or this one, reading a good amount of it, that I would trust these to read, knowing that I disagree with him on certain things. And that's kind of how it's going to be with a lot of pastors. You're never going to agree with everything that they say. So that is the first and most important group, and that will be your theology books. So the next book is actually, it was a little too big to fit in the whole frame, so I grabbed it, and I'm probably just going to put it back off frame whenever this segment is done. But the next category, I'd say, not just books, but category, is going to be agriculture. So when it comes to the fact that we live in a society where everything's provided for us when it comes to food, water, all of our basic necessities are covered by the grocery stores, covered by government facilities that, take care of water and things like that. The ability to know how to homestead and how to farm and how to raise animals and how to, do all the things that were normal for people to do in the last 60 years to even farther back, obviously, is important. So having stuff like this book, I have skimmed through this. Go ahead and preface this. I've not read every single one of these books. I have these books because I'm building a library, not because I've read every single one of them, because I just don't read books like that. I hate that I can't, and I really want to, but I'm starting to get better at it. So this is really important information. Obviously, all of this is important, but that's really important because you can have all the guns, all the ammo, all the kit, all the know-how of how to do raids and direct action missions and recce and all the stuff. But if you can't keep your family fed and clothed and warm at night, which all this can delve into at some point, obviously the most basic being of which animals and produce, and taking care of the land that you're on, that is extremely important. That is the second in line of most important. That's why I have it as a second video. But yeah, so that's the number 2, would be anything revolving around agriculture and homesteading. That's it. That would also include even stuff like books on carpentry, books on building, books on basic engineering for the building of homes and building of structures. That also would delve into that. So that's the second category. So our third category is actually going to be history. I think that if you're going to be teaching your kids, the first thing you teach them is the Bible. That's how you teach them how to read. The second thing you teach them is about history, because they need to know history, otherwise they will repeat it. So U.S. history obviously going to be the absolute most important we have to understand and know. So it's going to be things like 1776. This is actually a David McCullough books, from what I've seen and what I've read through a little bit, are very, very good books. Especially his Revolutionary War books that he's made. And they're great for history. I also have some other examples, would be stuff like historical fiction. The Killer Angels by Jeff Shara. Have not read through all this yet, but I'm very excited to, because I love the Gettysburg movies that were made back in the 90s, and that is what these, or the movie is what these books are, or the books are what the movie is based off of. Also, something important, U.S. Constitution and other writings. You can either get this in a full book form, but also if you go on Amazon or you want to go to a bookstore, most places that you can find good books will sell pocket constitutions and pocket Federalist papers and things like that for very cheap. Another thing, because I love Gettysburg, I've been there multiple times and I'm a huge history buff, a full history of Adams County, Pennsylvania. I wouldn't say full, 1700 to 1990. Back up, cat, back. Get. Come here. Get over here. Get back up. I love you. Bye-bye. But anyway, that's the history portion. That's going to be very, very important to know is history, because we need to understand and appreciate our history as Americans, but also understand all world history as well, and history on war. That's another big thing. So war books kind of revolves around in there too. But yeah, that is the third category, if I'm not. So these first three categories are really important because there's a lot of information in them that is directly linked to survival of entire cultures or people groups or communities. The next are going to be things that are a little bit less important. I shouldn't say not important, but they're definitely less of an importance. The next one that I would consider would be classics. The first two classics that I have in my collection so far are Huckleberry Finn. This is a Mark Twain book, one of the forefathers of American writing, a specific American style of writing. And the next one, which I'm still working on getting through right now, The Hobbit. You can't go wrong with J.R.R. Tolkien. Great series. You can also add into this the Lord of the Rings series. All the books in the J.R.R. Tolkien family of books that revolves around Middle-earth. Also, Chronicles of Narnia. These are great books for especially children's literature, but also adult literature. And then everything else after that, stuff like 1984 by George Orwell, Fahrenheit 141? I can't remember. Whatever that book is. I don't know why I can't remember the name of it for life of me right now. But those are also on the list of just your classic literature, whether it is European literature, whether it is American literature, the stuff that you remember reading that you really enjoyed that is more fiction-based books, that's also great to have. Just because of the entertainment value of it, you do need to have some sort of entertainment value in your books, otherwise you're probably not going to read them. But yeah, that's the third or fourth category, whatever one I'm on right now, I can't remember. If you see me looking at my phone, I am paying attention to making the video. I just have a list on my notes. Let's see, what's done? Theology, agriculture, history, classics, manuals. Manuals and fieldcraft I'm going to put together for the last category because they can kind of fit into some of these other categories, like, farm homesteading stuff, and then, history type stuff, because you have to understand the history of how fieldcraft was done before to understand the best ways to do it, because most of them are still the best ways to do it now. So when it comes to trapping, fire making, living off the land, being able to identify plant species and things like that, that is going back into knowing what people did before we had the ability to do all this without grocery stores en masse. So I would say this set of Dave Canterbury books have been really, really great. I have read most, if not all, of the Bushcraft Field Guide to Trapping, Gathering, and Cooking. This is a great, great book. I've read and skimmed over the Bushcraft First Aid, which is a really good book. This also could apply to first aid in more reconnaissance and forward observation type groups. If you're out for weeks on end with no resupply and you need to have a certain amount of medical training and equipment that you can probably get off the land or somehow do with less than what you really need, this would be a good book for that. Next will be your field manuals. These are cool. Not going to say what this one is. It's legal and everything, obviously, but well, yeah, not might as well. Improvised Munitions Handbook. This is really cool because mostly even for just... Please move. Thank you. Stuff like smokes and signaling devices and things like that. Really good option for it. And then obviously guerrilla warfare and special operations, special forces operations. These are pretty cool books. I've read through, skimmed through these. Got a lot of good information in them. Probably not nearly up to date, isn't nearly as up to date enough, but a lot of the techniques will still apply. But yeah, kind of just end this out by saying read. Do a better job than I do. Read on a regular basis. Read this as your main book. You should never go a day without reading this. And if you do go a day without reading this, you're hurting yourself. Be intimate in the Word of God because it is the most important book and important thing in your life you have to be understanding of completely. You need to have as complete of an understanding of your theology as possible because it is not a theology of one group, whether it's Presbyterians or Baptists. It is the theology of God Himself we have to understand. We can have disagreements over how to interpret it, but we need to be in the Word so that we can defend our beliefs. Especially now, as heated as it has gotten and as heated as it will get, we have to be able to defend our beliefs. But yeah, so this is the library. This is the start of it. I will be probably adding a lot more books to this. I have a lot more that I haven't shown you, but these are the ones so far that I try to be in the most. I try to look at the most. I try to refer to the most. So I want to thank y'all for watching the last couple videos I posted. I want to thank you for all the likes, all the comments, everyone that saw it and enjoyed it. If you didn't enjoy it, please tell me why so I can improve my videos. And yeah, so y'all have a great weekend. God bless. Have fun this Saturday and enjoy your Sunday. Go to church. Have a good day.